All right, today we're going to get right under the bonnet of OpenClaw. We're going to look at its architecture and really what makes it so different from every other AI assistant out there. So let's just dive in. Conard Li, one of the early developers making tutorials for this project, said something that just totally sticks with you. He called the memory system the soul of OpenClaw. Not the plugins, not the fancy routing, the memory. And why does that matter? Well, think about it. Pretty much every other AI you've used completely forgets who you are the moment you close the browser tab. OpenClaw? Well, it's built to remember. So here's the plan. By the end of this short explainer, you're going to get a handle on the 4 key parts of OpenClaw's runtime. And, even more importantly, you'll see how its dead simple 8-file memory system transforms a forgetful AI into something that actually gets smarter and more useful over time. Honestly, the best way to think about OpenClaw's architecture is as a kind of AI operating system. It's really built on 4 big components: the gateway, channels, hooks, and cron jobs. Pretty much everything else just hangs off one of these. First up is the gateway. You've got to think of this as the absolute heart of the system. The best analogy I've heard is an old-school telephone switchboard. Every message, every task, everything comes in, and the gateway's only job is to figure out where it needs to go next. It doesn't do any of the thinking itself, which is actually a brilliant design choice. It keeps the whole system clean and modular, letting other bits do the heavy lifting. So where are all those messages actually coming from? Well, that's what channels are for. A channel is basically just an adapter for a messaging app. We're talking WhatsApp, Telegram, Slack. There are over 20 of them. The really crucial bit here is that these channels take all those different message formats and standardize them. What that means for you is that you can chat with your agent from literally anywhere, and the agent's core brain doesn't have to care. It just gets the message. Next, we've got hooks. A hook is basically a really powerful way to extend the system. As OpenClaw does its thing, it sends out little signals or events like, hey, I'm starting up, or oops, an error just happened. A hook is just a bit of your own code that listens for one of those specific events and then runs automatically. This is fantastic because it means you can add completely new features without ever touching the core OpenClaw code itself. And this component, for me, this changes everything. Cron jobs. See, a normal AI assistant is totally passive, right? It just sits there and waits for you to ask it something. But OpenClaw has a built-in scheduler, so you can tell your agent, hey, every single morning at 8 a.m., I want you to check my calendar and then send me a daily briefing on Telegram. It completely transforms the agent from a simple chatbot into a proactive digital employee that works for you. So how does this all click together? Well, the gateway is the central hub, the main dispatcher. Channels are feeding it messages from you. Hooks are listening in on the gateway's activity to add new features on the fly. And cron jobs are pushing scheduled tasks into the gateway to be executed. The 4 of them together create the entire lifecycle of a personal AI agent. Right, so that's the plumbing sorted. But now we get to the main event, the part that Conard Li called the soul of the system, the layered memory. This is the secret sauce that allows your agent to actually know who you are. And you know what's truly remarkable about this? This incredibly powerful compounding memory system is built on just 8 simple, human-readable markdown files. That's it. No complicated databases, no proprietary formats, just plain text that you can open and read yourself. And here they all are. This table basically shows you the entire system. You've got these high-level files that define the AI's personality, your own profile, and its operating instructions. Then it gets more specific. There's a file that acts as a quick index of core facts, another one for tracking the status of all your projects, one for your server details, another for lessons learned, and even a raw daily log. Each one has a very specific job to do. Let's just zoom in on that, starting at the top with soul.md. The best way to describe this file is as the AI's character sheet. This is where you define its personality, its tone of voice, its boundaries. Is it formal? Is it chatty? Are there certain topics it just won't talk about? It all goes in here. The next couple of layers are all about you and the work itself. User.md is your profile, who you are, what your job is, how you like things to be worded. Then agents.md is like the operating manual. It's where you put the step-by-step instructions for how the agent should get tasks done. Like, here's how you triage one of my emails. Okay, now this is where it gets really, really clever. The lessons.md file. It's literally a mistake file. When the agent messes something up, it writes down what happened in here, classifies how bad the mistake was, and this is the critical part, it reads this file back to itself at the start of new tasks. The result?
It actively learns from its mistakes and tries not to repeat them. And all of that brings us to the real payoff of this whole system. It's not just about remembering facts, it's about creating something the community has started calling the compounding effect.
This quote from a community member just captures it perfectly. After maybe a month of using it, the agent just starts to get the nuances of how you work. It knows your routine, your projects, the little annoying details you hate dealing with. Every single chat, every task adds to that knowledge base. And this slide just lays out the difference so clearly. A standard stateless AI, it starts from zero every single day. It forgets what you like, and it'll make the same dumb mistakes over and over. OpenClaw learns, it remembers, and it adapts to you. It stops being just a simple tool and starts becoming a genuine compounding partner in your work.
So, of course, you're probably thinking, okay, what's the catch? And yeah, there's always a trade-off. To get this level of deep personalization and real power, you are running your own infrastructure. You have to install it, you have to maintain it, and you have to look after it. It is absolutely a commitment.
But if you want all that power without the complexity and the hassle, there is a solution. For anyone who wants OpenClaw running on their own machine without ever having to touch a command line, the SetupClaw desktop app handles the entire installation, the configuration, and all the security stuff for a one-time fee of £70. You can check it out at setupclaw.uk/app.